When I shoot my pictures on the street, there is absolutely no control, just chaos around me. But this is not only a challenge, it's also the beauty of street photography. And I have only one tool to make this happen, and it's framing and timing. As you can imagine, so not having any control over reality, it means that sometimes I can spend hours or even days before I can shoot something significant for my portfolio. For this reason, for this masterclass, I have created some particular scenarios with models with the aim to show you some particular situation that you will find during your photographic walks. When I am on the street, I normally shoot images in color and then I turn them to black and white using the smartphone Leica filters. And depending on the original contrast of the pictures, I may choose the more soft Leica black and white or the stronger high contrast black and white. And if I still need a kick or the image be just toned down, I can always make some extra adjustment working directly on the highlights, the shadows or contrast. And when the image is ready, then it's time to share it with my social network followers and upload it on my website. Street photography originated with photography itself. And as you can imagine, people had always the instinct to point their camera to everyday life, just to capture memories of the beauties that surround us. Over time, this desire to depict our surrounding has evolved into something more complex. We felt the desire to transform reality into something more personal through a powerful tool known as point of view. Take a look at the photo of this girl hailing a taxi, for example. If I had it taken from my natural point of view, it would have been an ordinary photograph. By shooting it from below, however, I make her the protagonist and create a connection between the gesture of pointing upwards and the lamp hanging between the two buildings. Another important aspect is that street photography has again transformed itself, becoming not only a discipline based on the idea of documentation, but a true form of abstract art. And black and white further amplifies this concept, turning photos into objects that use reality as a means to convey perspective and personal stories. For example, in this photograph, all the elements are connected by a subtle thread of contrast that reveals an architecture built by lines, shadows, and anatomical elements that together construct an image that finds its strength in symmetry. The Xiaomi 13 Ultra is a perfect tool to shoot black and white street photography. Its compact and lightweight design make it easy to carry around and roaming the streets. The device is equipped with high-quality multiple lenses and advanced sensor. Especially the wide-angle lens allows you to capture wider field of view, making it ideal for street photography. When I have to take a black and white photograph, the first and most important rule I follow is to create compositions where the main subject is in clear contrast with the background, a dark subject against a light background or vice versa. This enables me to enhance the visibility and visual impact of the main subject in the picture. For example, in this picture, the subjects are all dark against a light background, but that alone is not enough. There are several elements that can enhance the readability of the image. First of all, I decided to take the shot from a slightly elevated angle. This allows me to include the heads of the two sitting girls in the cleanest area between the steps. As for the second subject, I have chosen to position her in the center of the lines of the marble block in the background. This choice further strengthens the graphic balance of the entire picture. So, in black and white photography, it is evident that the relationship with the background, in particular in terms of contrast, is perhaps the most important element. If this relationship doesn't work well, the entire photo is likely to fall short. Light in street photography is a variable that we do not control. and often it is one of the elements that clearly defines a photographer's stylistic approach. Some photographers prefer working with hard light because it produces well-defined and sharp shadows with distinct edges and can add a dramatic and edgy feel to monochrome images. On bright days, when the sun is high in the sky and there are no clouds, it is common to experience hard light, especially in the central hours of the day. For example, in this photograph I have a scene that presents several challenges. There are two subjects, two girls in the background in harsh light and one subject in the shadowed area. It's a perfect situation to create a silhouette of the subject in the foreground and try to establish a symmetry between the two girls in the background. Other photographers prefer to work with soft and diffused light. It can create images with more flattering and even illumination. It reduces harsh shadows and can provide a more delicate and intimate atmosphere to the black and white images. Diffused light can occur when the sky is cloudy or when, on sunny days, we choose to shoot in shaded areas. For example, when I took this photograph, I couldn't rely on the contrast created by the light, since it was very soft, but rather on the contrast between the woman's figure and the background. When shooting, I once again changed my point of view by lowering it to create a powerful relationship between the subject and the architect behind her. I also tried to position her head among the windows to make the composition more graphic. In black and white street photography, both hard and soft light have their own aesthetic qualities and can be used in a very creative way. The choice between the two depends on the desired mood, the kind of subject, and the overall vision of the photographer. Street portraiture is a discipline that requires a great ability to connect with others. When I have to take a black and white street portrait, I'm not just interested in the subject characteristic, but also in a series of elements that can enhance the impact of the photograph. Once again, the contrast between the subject and the background is certainly one of the most important elements. And of course, really important, you should never forget about lighting. It may happen that the subject we encounter is not presented in the best light. In this case, rather than taking a photograph right where I am, I try to encourage the subject to change angle or move a few meters just to take advantage of a better lighting. For example, except in rare cases, I always try to take my black and white street portraits in areas of diffused light to achieve a relaxed expression and minimize excessive shadows on the eyes. Black and white photography is also very essential, and this translates into the ability to capture emotion and moments that often go unnoticed. For this reason, when I am out on the streets, I always observe the people around me, searching for moments that tell small and big emotions. Observation is the beginning of any creative process. My suggestion is to observe not only those scenes at moments that are obviously visually stimulating, but also to pay attention to those moments and people who may not seem to have nothing interesting to tell. Sometimes, a small change is all it takes to transform a seemingly mundane scene into something extraordinary. As you have seen, black and white street photography offers a multitude of opportunities to capture moments in your city and in your everyday life. Seeing in black and white requires practice and personal exploration. The most important things we have learned are that a photographer must always seek contrast between the subject and the background, that the creation of abstract and graphic contents require a great attention to details, and that in street portraiture you must combine the legibility of the subjects with the ability to relate with them. I hope I have inspired you, and starting tomorrow you will go out with your smartphone in search of the beauty that often goes unnoticed. But before we move on, I want to assign you an exercise, just to put yourself to the test and try to apply some of the concepts we discussed during our masterclass. Let's try to capture a compelling narrative through a minimalistic composition in your black and white street photography, whether it be a candid moment or just a street portrait. But please, make sure to create images where the subject of the photo is well integrated into the background. And now, follow me to my studio, where we will be talking about black and white and portrait photography.
Xiaomi.